The German elections. Do we or do we not have a new Reich, apart from the one in America? It looks like, as far as I can tell, it looks like the results of the election have more or less conformed to what we expected based on the polling running up to the election. So that's good. Polling, I guess, pulling its weight. That's always nice to see. Not totally misrepresentative. Die here, hold on one second. Recent exit polling. Yeah, thank you. Give me the most recent. Bundestagwahl 2025. You have just given me a Twitter link. This is not information. You have not given me anything useful. If anything, you've wasted my mods. All right. So, okay. These are votes based on exit polling under 25, 60 and over. Do I have that right? I don't speak German. Do I have that right? Yes? Wonderful. Okay, so young people, majority. Oh, it really is fascism or communism for the young people, isn't it? There are just no liberals and neocons anymore. Well, there is some good news here. If you take the Union and SPD to be the like centrist normie vote, you know, like this right here, like this is like the boring wonk vote. If you combine Green and Linke, you have 37, which is a decent chunk. You can probably combine AFD and FDP in the Hitlerite conglomerate, and BSW is like confused people. The Wagenknecht Party is to the right, but there are probably a lot of people who support it who aren't like militant Nazis. You know, we'll call that the third positionist one. There's basically no gender split in the results. That's cool, guys. You're giving me results. You're giving me pages that are in German. What am I supposed to do with this? Oh yes, of course. Oh ja, distanzierte sich nicht genug von rechtsextremen Positionen. Of course. Google Translate. Oh, except I already have. These aren't web elements that can be translated like this. Pictures? Yeah, where's the pictures? Basically, the conservatives look like they're getting 30%, I don't know, 29, whatever. Get the gist of it. The AFD is getting about 20%, which isn't great. And Die Linke, the actual left party, has surged in the past months from like 3% of the polling to like 8% actual, which is actually pretty huge. The real, and I've said this before, but the real question going forward is to what extent will the conservative Union Party work with the AFD? Now, the AFD, to be clear, is an actual Nazi party. I've called a lot of people Nazis, and I've always been right. People used to make fun of me for calling people Nazis too frequently. Nobody does that anymore. Why? Because I was right. The AFD is legally a Nazi party. As in, even in cucked-ass Germany, where it's illegal to frown at a person when they bicycle past you, the judges have ruled that calling the AFD party a Nazi party is not libel because it's defensible factually. Like, their leaders keep getting caught with Nazi memorabilia. What are the policies besides immigration bad? For the AFD, that's pretty much the main one, but you can guess at a lot of their policies. There's a reason why Musk and JD Vance like them so much. Is CDU/CSU like neocons, neolibs, or are they closer to MAGA? They're not like MAGA. The Union, the CDU, they're more like, I don't know, they're to the right of Bush in 2001, I guess, but they're definitely not MAGA. They're neocons coded by the Syrian refugee crisis, if that makes any sense. No, they aren't to the right of Bush. It depends. In terms of like militant anti-migrant rhetoric, yeah, Bush wasn't as hawkish on that. In terms of like economic policies, not quite as much. Economically to the left of him, yeah. Because it's Europe, It's not, CDU is McCain core, yeah. It's Do German politics affect America? Not a huge amount, but the question here isn't does this affect America? The question here is how does Europe respond to the victory of the far right in America? So Germany affects the EU massively, for one. That's for one. And for two, this is the first major election that we've seen following Trump's win. How will Europe respond? Will they do what Canada's currently doing and be galvanized to the left, where Canada will be like, holy shit, I actually hate fascism, and then they'll like rapidly swing back to the left, or will they lean into it? Now, based on what JD Vance said during his talk at the Munich Security Conference, and based on what Elon Musk has been doing, sitting down, interviewing, appearing at AFD rallies, they really wanted the AFD to overperform. The AFD have basically done exactly as well as they were expected to in the polling. So I wouldn't say they overperformed relative to the polling. They definitely overperformed relative to the last election. 20%, man? Sheesh. Is that good or bad? I mean, 20% of the population voted for the Nazi party. So, you know, that's a lot of people. Again, the AFD isn't like the MAGA party, okay? It's not like the Republicans. It's not all that stuff that I've said before about how the majority of Republicans are just like idiots who have been roped in by the culture war and wouldn't actually agree with the most far-right positions of the people in power. That's still true with the AFD, but like not as much so. It's less true. The AFD is a little more open with it. They're so open with it, again, that keep in mind, historically, the AFD, other parties haven't wanted to work with them. The fascist Italian and French parties haven't wanted to work with them in the EU Parliament. The CDU said they wouldn't work with them, though then they backtracked on that and said they would work on immigration stuff. So, yeah, if a person is a staunch fan of the AFD, you can just assume they are a Nazi. Like, if a person's a big fan of MAGA, of Trump, I don't know, are you like are you a conspiracy vaccine type? Like what? Like you could be a Nazi, I guess, but like there's a wide range of stuff that could lead to you being a militantly pro-Trump person. Trump has had a massive cult of personality for a decade now, you know? If you're a big pro-AFD guy, you can just assume they're a Nazi. Like you don't have to do any of the like, well, let's examine the underlying motive. You can just assume that, you know? Yeah, there's less ambiguity in a multi-party system where they can just vote for the CDU if they want to, you know? They have other options. AFD leaders and their most offensive remarks, just like tabulating all of them. Is this a video? Oh, yeah. The head of the AFD in the state of Thuringia first made headlines in 2017 by referring to Berlin's Holocaust Memorial as a monument of shame. I remember this, yes. A court ruled it was not slanderous to describe Huck as a fascist. Alice Weidel, this is the lesbian chair, right? This is the head of the AFD. A lesbian, how woke? Vassal of the U.S. Well, I don't care to look at this. We all know how bad the AFD is. We can look into that later. We're talking about the election results here. So let me take a look at the updates. Okay, let's see who said what. Who's mad? Who's sad? Hulk is like a Nazi even for AFD. Didn't he get caught with a bunch of Nazi memorabilia, or am I thinking of somebody else? 38% of poor people voted AFD and 27% of lower education. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, this was prior to the actual election. Results of young urban women versus old rural men. Young urban women, or jüngere Frauen in Städten, or ältere Männer, right? Männer auf dem Land. All voting for the union, unsurprisingly. Man, young urban women have a Männer, gotcha, have a 1 in 3 chance of voting for the, like, Open Socialist Party. That's cool. Or the Greens, I guess. Young urban women, I love you. Young urban women, save me. At least old guys don't vote for AFD. Yeah, give me young urban men, just out of curiosity. Or maybe like Gen X urban men. What demographic is most likely to vote AFD? It would have to be like former East Germany, suburban Gen X, rural or suburban Gen X men who are white, presumably. I don't know if they do polling based on race in Germany. 69% of Germans are against a coalition with the AFD through all parties. Yeah, the AFD is, wie fanden Sie eine Beteiligung der AfD an der nächsten Bundesregierung. Bundesregierung. They don't make it easy for me, folks. Who would you be willing to ally with in Parliament? 69% not good. Or, like, who would you not want to ally with in Parliament? Yeah, you get the gist. Kind of, maybe. How would you like a participation of the AFD for the next government? Ah, okay. Well, anyway, the results. Coalition may be very difficult. There's an upbeat mood here in the headquarters of the Christian Democratic Union, the Conservative Party, who is now showing to win this election. How, forgive my ignorance, how well did the CDU perform relative to previous elections? Bad? Better than last year? Worse? Okay, you're not being very helpful. Better than previously, but they wanted over 30% and did not achieve that. For the CDU, they got 29%, right? Okay, gotcha. Just so a lot of their voters ended up bleeding into the AFD. Gotcha. SPD official says results mark bitter evening. Is it true that the Libertarian and Wagenknecht parties have not made the 5% threshold? What's the current, what's the most recent exit poll data? That Die Linke has made the 5, but the other two haven't made the 5? We don't know yet? Okay, because that's a pretty big deal, right? The unviability of those parties. As of now, they're at 4.9%. Okay. Jesus. Okay, here's the SPD's results. Well, maybe you shouldn't have killed Rosa Luxemburg, you stupid pieces of shit. Whatever. They deserve their loss. The CDU and the SPD are both like dead parties. They're irrelevant in the same way that the Republicans were in 2008 and the Democrats are now, you know? They have just not shifted to meet the times at all. It wasn't this bad for the SPD even in 1933. Is that true? Hold on 1 second. German election results 1933. Oh my god, yeah, they got 20.4% in this. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. The SPD are the biggest of the only 3 non-evil parties in Germany. Yeah, but my understanding is that, like, basically, by continuing to be neoliberal, you basically become part of the same mechanism as the CDU. Like, it's not that the SPD is as bad as the CDU, it's just, like, they're doing the same bit that we've seen over and over again, right? SPD is controlled by moderates right now? Yeah, that's the problem. Ernst Thälmann, save me. I'm just kidding, that guy was a piece of shit. The KPD. Thalman. Yeah, he got Rosa Luxemburg killed with his dumbass. Die Linke isn't a good left option, though, because they don't support weapons for Ukraine. My understanding is that the more, like, campist, pro-Russian elements of Die Linke have moved over to the Wagenknecht party. That, like, the emergence of that party allowed them to siphon off some of the more, like, my only principle is the death of the West type people, you know? Which probably helped them a lot in this election, because then they could focus on stuff that people actually care about, rather than, like, here's us putting out TikToks and how the expansion of NATO caused this war or some shit like that nobody cares about. Die Linke got 8.9%. Based on the current exit polls, 8.9% is huge. That's literally a tripling of their estimated, like, they weren't even expected to make the 5% cutoff. That's huge. Like, that's massive. Is Linke good about Russia? I mean, they're probably not as principled about it as I am, but they're definitely better about it now than they were before. It's an improvement. Live update with last year's results next to it. Okay, the problem, I'm not German, so not only is there a language barrier, but these are too many colors and graphs. I'm sorry, I don't have the German efficiency mind. I don't have the cognitive capacity to process all of this information at once. Reuters, Vosh? I don't respect Reuters ever since they implemented a paywall. Just up with them. Yeah, the American mind can't comprehend multiple political parties. Merz says they will work to form a government quickly. So what's the worst case scenario here? What would the worst case scenario be? Like, Union, SPD, Green coalition that freezes out Die Linke and AFD, which causes, like... Okay, apart from the CDU-AFD coalition. If they didn't work with AFD and they tried to freeze out Die Linke and AFD... That would be a 1928 situation. Yeah, if they freeze out both Die Linke and AFD and you start getting people who are doing the, like, oh, they've outflanked the left from the AFD bits, where you have, like, you have Die Linke and AFD people in parliament being like, you know, we must collectively resist the centrist order that currently runs government. Seems like you'd be kicking the can down the road, making things even worse next election. Schultz acknowledges election defeat. God, this guy looks... Well, I guess he looks very German. He's boring as and has no sauce. Yeah, like I said, German. Merz is willing to work with the AFD and anti-migration stuff. We'll see how that goes, I guess. But is Merz any better? No? No, he's the head of the CDU. If the FDP and BSW stay below 5%, then a CPD-CDU coalition will have a majority. Maybe that would be the best case scenario then. Just the two of them having coalition, because then anytime anyone broke ranks within the coalition, which would doubtless happen, it would be possible for Die Linke or the Greens to be like, hey, I'll help if, you know, like that way you could get, you could have like you could play kingmaker from outside the coalition, you know? Merz wants to make Germany a stronger leader for Europe, which is important right now. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, since America's like pulling out, basically. It's really just a matter of like not being Hitler, I guess. Like Hitler also said he wanted a stronger Germany. We'll see. Merz isn't Hitler? No, but he could be facilitating it. I mean, Hindenburg wasn't Hitler, right? But if Hindenburg was around today and he was doing what he was doing back then, I'd be like, hey, you're kind of Hitlering right now by doing the Hitler stuff you're doing. And then people would be like, that's not Hitler. Hitler's right there. And I'd be like, yeah, but he's still doing the Hitler thing. Most recent exit polling? As of 13 minutes ago. Union 28.4. Ooh. Wow, they really are underperforming. AFD 20.4, SPD 16.4, Green 12.2, Linke 8.9, BSW exactly 5%, FDP 4.8%, which is wretched, and Sonstig, which I don't know anything about. Oh wait, does this just mean like no result, no answer? What is? I don't think that's a party. The others? Okay, so they're like the ones voting in the name of their dogs. Okay, gotcha. Like doing write-in votes. Okay, gotcha. What if everyone got into a coalition against the CDU and AFD? Well, I mean, that would be pretty wacky. It's not possible. Well, actually, wait. How would that work if these proportions held true and the Union and AFT together only got like 48%? And every other party coalition, like I know it wouldn't happen, but if it could happen, and every other party coalition together, would the proportioning of the remaining seats be possible for that to happen at all? Like theoretically, all the numbers under 5 would fall off, though. Yeah. But that's what I'm asking. If the numbers under 5 fell off, that would mean a greater proportionment going to the Union and AFD, which means that they would then have above 50%, right? So in order for that to happen, the BSW and the FDP would have to get 5%, and you need to have a very small number voting for others. Because then if any of these were made irrelevant by falling below the 5%, that would boost the proportional representation of Union and AFD. Okay, I'm just making sure that I understand it properly. Sorry, American mind, etc., etc. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm just making sure. Either way, like they're not going to get much done, you know? Like it's a divisive time. I mean, the real red pill here, I get. Okay, wait, hold on. Previously, I said that a lot of the Union voters got siphoned off into AFD. Isn't that just not true based on these numbers? Wouldn't they have to be voters from like FDP and SPD? Or maybe, moreover, SPD moved over to Union, and then Union and FDP moved over to AFD, like, more or less? Yeah, because clearly the SPD got way siphoned off. We don't have data on that yet. Yeah, but, like, just judging by the size of the shift, you know? 12% of voters went from CDU to AFD. Then where these new CDU voters come from? SPD, presumably? Everyone just, like, slide to the right. Slide to the right. Hitler. You know? Everyone did a little shuffle. Cha-cha, real smooth. A lot of the new CDU voters are former FDP voters. Is that true? Because I feel like FDP would be more likely to go to AFD, because the FDP are like militant libertarians, right? And all the libertarians I've ever talked to are Nazis. No? Okay. I guess that's more of an American libertarian thing. FDP is basically AFD light. That's my understanding. Anything in this yellow color. Voter turnout was huge. I heard that too. I did hear that. 91 seats to 0. That's so based. Look at that. The FDP, if they hold under 5%, 91 seats to 0. Get out of government. Get a job. You like private enterprise so much? Get a job. Living off the government's dime. We'll work at a damn kebab shop, you piece of shit. Here's the voter movement. Scroll down. Scrolling. Where everyone went to. Okay, SPD voters went mostly to Union, but somewhat to AFD. God, that's grim. For the SPD to have lost more people to the AFD than to Die Linke, that's grim, man. Do you think things would have been different if Die Linke had had this big boost in popularity, like a year ago rather than 2 months ago? Do you like I wonder, because going from 3% to 9% is like insane. I wonder if they could have rounded off at like 15, 16%, you know? Like I don't know what the upper limit on their boost would have been, but here's a timestamp table with prognosis. Mythaldo, you're too German for me. What the hell am I looking at? See, the American news media understands we're stupid, which is why when they broadcast election results, they do it with a big map with like colors and stuff. That's a German election results table, all right. It is very efficient. That's true. Think less about what if the boost was 2 months ago, but instead what happened if the election happened 3 months later or 3 months earlier. You know, what's week of pregnancy? What? I haven't even begun reading yet. Week of pregnancy. That's how long it takes a German to gestate. Oh, I see. 1 week of pregnancy. Yeah. Yep, those are numbers. Hey, Vosh, uneducated American here. Who are we rooting for in these elections? Well, the closest thing that we have to a good guy in this is the Die Linke party, followed by the Green Party a little bit, followed by the SPD, followed by the Union, followed by the AFD, who are pretty far down on the good guy list, you know? I'd say the AFD is like about as far from the good guy list as you could get in this dynamic. Green Party are the most pro-Israel party. Okay, fine, SPD over Green, whatever. And then to the Union, yeah, a lot of people moved over to AFD. Green Party, a lot have moved over to Die Linke. Nobody in the Green Party moving over to the SPD? Okay. I mean, it's a simplification, I guess, but... Then from FDP, AFD, and Union. And PSW. There. Die Linke's head candidate has a tattoo of Rosa Luxemburg on her shoulder. Really? Is it Heidi? This woman? Yo! Oh, wait, that's Nefertiti. That's not Rosa Luxemburg. I assumed it was highly stylized. Other shoulder? She does numbers on TikTok? I've heard that. Wait, hold on. I want to see really quickly. You know, I've heard a lot about this, but I want to see for myself. What TikTok account would I have to look up to find what they're boosting? You know? Would it be like TikTok Die Linke? Would it be TikTok Heidi Reichnig? Like, what would it be her? Would it be both? Okay. Oh yeah, here's the Rosa Luxemburg tattoo. Okay, that's very recognizably her. Die Linke TikTok. Okay, really liking the fact that their logo is the Supreme logo. That's very funny. That's yeah, I like that. That's very cool. That being said, this account doesn't seem to have any content. Did I select the right one? No, I did. It just didn't load. Okay, let me see like what's going viral right now. Okay? 1 second. I just want to get a feel for it.
Wisst ihr, was ich wirklich nicht mehr hören kann? Ja, die Linke macht gerade tolle Arbeit, aber man muss trotzdem taktisch SPD oder Grüne wählen, falls die Linke nicht in den Bundestag kommt. Und wisst ihr, was ich solchen Leuten entgegne? Zuallererst, warum gehst du auf Mutter? Natürlich kommt die Linke in den Bundestag. Ich werde Friedrich Merz mindestens 4 weitere Jahre auf den Sack gehen.
Ja! Sehr gut.
Wenn es das Letzte ist, was ich tue. Okay, ich habe mich beruhigt. Taktisch wählen, das ist wirklich die größte Lüge, die uns gerade verkauft wird. Und es ist tatsächlich auch sehr antidemokratisch. Warum? Naja, deswegen. Wenn man taktisch wählt, also nicht das wählt, was man eigentlich will, dann ändert sich ja nie irgendwas an den Verhältnissen. Ihr wollt weniger Miete zahlen, ihr wollt eine echte Kindergrundsicherung, die nicht nur versprochen wird, sondern auch wirklich durchgesetzt wird. Ihr wollt nicht, dass Superreiche diesen Planeten weiter zerstören. Dann ist...
You know, even without being able to understand most of what she's saying, I can understand some because...
Ihr wollt nicht, dass
thankfully, a lot of German words are the same as English words, basically. You can tell just by the way this video is constructed that they take their social media seriously. When you compare this to Hakeem Jeffries sitting in like a plush leather chair saying, and this Captain Chaos, that's what I call him, tearing up the government. You know, like if you compare it to... She's even doing that thing that's trendy now with like with the Zoomers where you tuck in like an oversized sweater or shirt just a little bit to see the belt buckle. Just, I don't know, a little more like in on the, got the nice lighting. The AFD is huge online. The other parties are trying to catch up. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, young people are French tuck, not just a French tuck, because French tuck's a little more, it's like a variation, but you know, whatever. I'm just saying like it's cool, you know? Just a chill dude. Yeah. Das Baden. Apparently they tripled their online spending budget this campaign, according to The Guardian. Good. I mean, it works, right? Notable success of far-left Die Linke, Snap analysis. 8.5%. BSW will fail to get into parliament. Heidi Reichen. You know, it's a nice reminder of how fucking sexist America is, that like the Democrats aren't going to run a woman again probably. How sexist are people in Germany to Heidi? Don't get me wrong, I'm sure the AfD is like vile to her, but what about the majority, you know? What about like the union or not at all? Very. That's great. Thank you guys. I don't know why I would ask you such a broad question. That's okay. I mean, AFD is also run by a woman. Yeah, but that doesn't really matter, right? Like, Candace Owens is a black woman. It doesn't, like, they're aware of the fact that they're being hypocritical, you know? They had Angela Merkel for over a decade, not as much of a barrier there. Yeah, but Merkel sucked. I don't know. Maybe. All right, well, obviously we don't have the actual results yet. What we're doing right now is analysis based on exit polls, but the exit polls are usually very accurate. So everything is probably going to be within like more or less a percentage point of what we expect. The big question is going to be whether the BSW and the FDP, the Libertarians, end up in parliament, but the fundamental like underlying result is the same, you know? Linke is popular among Zoobers. 24% of under 30s vote Linke. Really, that's an interesting factoid that I've only heard 3 times in the past. Wow, 1 minute. Thank you for the information. I made a chart in the prognosis. Is this like as the exit polls update? And Green were really sweating there for a second, huh? Relative to like the polling expectations, it looks like, yeah, I mean, what this shows is like extreme consistency in the exit polling, right? The fact that the numbers are staying this stable across the results. Official results will be out in under an hour. Well, then we can analyze those when they come out, but I expect they're going to be, you know, pretty much this. So it's fairly confirmed that Germany has shifted far right. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Certainly, there's been a populist rejection of the mainstream parties here, the SPD and the CDU. Most of the movement here has shifted right, like, over time. The most recent bump has been for Die Linke. Like, the only ones here who are overperforming relative to how they were doing, like, 6 months ago or a year ago is Die Linke. So yeah, we're getting, the global death of neoliberalism, et cetera, and the real question is, like, what answers do you have that aren't neoliberalism to the rise of fascism? The problem, of course, is that over here in America, we have no answers because we have a two-party system, and the Democrats are literally the least effective party in existence. Like, it's impossible to conceive. You could dedicate a team of scientists, philosophers and researchers, you could give them infinite money and infinite time, they wouldn't come up with anything more lame than Hakeem Jeffries, you know? Whereas over in Germany, there actually is a robust youth left movement in the form of Die Linke, and to a lesser extent, probably the youth wing of the SPD and maybe the Greens, though I know less about that. So over there is some... Basically what I'm saying is that America is dead and Germany has the potential to live. That's what I'm saying, basically. Youth wing in the SPD? Yeah. There's like young SPD. They have more political participation over in Germany. Libertarian leader just stepped down? Yeah! Wait, really? Isn't SPD moderate? Not their youth. Young SPD is actually called Young Socialists. Well, Trump hails German election results, saying more victories to follow. Cute. This is a great day for Germany and for the United States of America under the leadership of a gentleman named Donald J. Trump. I feel like he didn't used to, third-person posts as often as he does now. Leading German conservative does not see coalition with Greens. I don't see an article here on the libertarian leader stepping down. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I thought you meant this happened before. He will step down if FDP doesn't make it in. Okay, well, this is from 2024. FDP leader steps down, or is this another FDP leader? Have multiple FDP leaders stepped down recently? No? Okay. Oh, whatever. Old news? Okay. No, it's from when he was fired. Okay, so this information isn't useful to me. Gotcha. Voting share of each party by age in Germany. When is this from? This is from the EU election. Okay, this is not from the current federal election. This is from the EU election that happened last year. And this is the CDU, where the older you are, the more likely you are to vote for them. The AFD, where, yeah, like the millennial Gen X area seems to be the bump, basically. Well, Gen X is more like here, I guess. So yeah, the millennial Gen X coalition, I guess, is the center of the bump. Kind of the same for the Green Party. Volt, SPD, older you are, the more likely. Die Linke, younger you are, the more likely. Volt is pretty good. It's a European federal party. Pan-European. Okay, gotcha. Why Gen X? Lead poisoning? I notice there's a growing rejection of mainstream parties in the West. Maybe I'm wrong, but what do you think of it? No, you're right, and it's the death of neoliberalism. Neoliberalism, we have reached a point of like wealth extraction and wealth inequality that is socially unstable. Like that inequality has existed for all of human history, and at times it grows, like there's a tipping point, and we have reached that point. And that inequality is being felt in every aspect of our lives, from our wages to the cost of our healthcare, to the decay of our infrastructure, to the decay of our social systems, to the closing of the favorite store that you had in downtown that was the place you went to every day after school as a child that can no longer afford to pay the rent because commercial real estate rent prices are skyrocketing because of private equity and investment and that being used as a speculative vehicle. So everything is being felt, and people are unsatisfied with the status quo, and neoliberals' only answer to this is, what if we did the status quo but like slightly more efficiently? And neocons are in basically the same boat. So, you know, yes, people are turning to other parties. And it's really just a matter of whether you go far right or far left. And in, say, England, or sorry, the UK, you don't really have a far left. You just have a far right. In America, you don't have a far left, you just have a far right, etc., etc. You motherfuckers, you keep giving me shit in German. Like I know what the hell I'm looking at. It is crazy how old Germany is. Like the average age in Germany is 105. It's like this in a lot of Western countries, you know? If you go over to Brazil or Mexico or something and you walk downtown, there's tons of kids, there's young people. But in like France, Germany, the UK, even in some parts of America, no one's having kids. Yeah, it's like Japan, everyone's old. Average age in Germany is 45. That is pretty crazy. What's the end point of this? I can't see the future. I don't know. Isn't a good average age like 35, though? Yeah, that's a hell of a lot better than 45. Voters with a bad financial situation voted for the AFD 37%. Yeah, I mean, it's the more, it's, you know, generally speaking, yeah, you're going to see that. People are more likely to whiplash over to radical politics if they're unhappy with their own situation. Isn't it like 30 in Gaza? No, it's like, now it's probably like 15 in Gaza. I don't know. Average age in Brazil, 33.6 years. Average age in America, 38.7 years. Average age in Japan, 49.5. The second highest in the world, second only to Monaco. Average age in Germany, 44.6. Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah, Monaco doesn't count. Yeah, Monaco's not a real country. Why does Japan not allow immigrants? They're working on that. What makes AFD worse than Republicans? They're just more openly Nazi. Because the more moderate conservative voters could siphon off to the CDU. So only the real far right are, like, you just get more stratification of political positions and more like separation when you have more parties available. Well, at least they don't Sieg Heil Lamau. Well, it's illegal to Sieg Heil in Germany. However, they do basically defend Nazi Germany pretty damn often. We shouldn't be ashamed of our past. We should be prideful, and so on and so on. Yeah, they Sieg Heil plenty in private. Elon said that. Yeah, and Elon's a Nazi. So just heritage, not hate Lamau? Well, no, they don't say the not hate part. They more say like heritage, wink.